Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
I saw this last night. Thought it was interesting. Sean Payton, the coach of the Denver Broncos, ordered a life-size cardboard cutout of offensive coordinator and former Texas Tech quarterback Davis Webb. It's 6'4". He's 6'5", and had his long hair, his reading glasses over his nose, and he was just looking at a life-size cutout of himself. And Peyton said, sometimes you have to have some change of pace stuff. It was funny. You've got to do that stuff in camp. And for Davis Webb, he's just 31 years old and an offensive coordinator. And he's going to be a head coach really, really quick.
Yeah, seems like it.
Especially if the Broncos have some offensive success this year. So you kind of look at that and just think, man, just a few years ago he was here, and he didn't finish here, but he essentially had the bulk of his career in college here at Texas Tech, and considered to be very much an up and comer. He said this. He says, it's funny because back when we had those meetings at 2 or 3 in the morning, I would put my glasses halfway down my nose and Peyton would be, Davis, is this too much? And I'd be like, yes, this is too much. And we have too much of a game plan. Then we'd go through it again, take out a couple things, move it around so it's a little more digestible. That's been a tradition for the last 3 years. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny that, Sean Payton, you think of him as kind of an intense guy. And for him to do something like that is kind of...
Yeah, but he's got some personality to him too.
Mm-hmm. I always thought he'd be the next coach of the Cowboys. And who knows? But I don't. I think at 62 that probably the Broncos would be probably the end for him. Seems like they're on their way up, and obviously they had a great year last year, and
got a good young quarterback. And some people, have some expectations for them to make a deep run, maybe even make it to the Super Bowl. I don't know if anybody thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if anybody thinks that anybody from the AFC can win it. I think there's a lot of teams that can get there. I don't know if there's a lot of teams that can win it. It's kind of what it seems like, at least. Yeah, I thought they were a really good team last year until obviously their quarterback got hurt. They had I felt like they would have had a chance against the Seahawks if Nix hadn't been, out of the lineup. But I feel like they're the favorite in the AFC, but everybody's feels like all the experts are leaning towards Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I mean, there's other candidates there as well. I mean, at some point in time, the Los Angeles Chargers, I feel like, they've kind of made all these moves, and it's like they need to take the next step, and it's been really hard for them and that quarterback to take the next step.
Mm-hmm. It surely has. That's a tough division to do it in. It's one of the best in football.
Absolutely. 6:35 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We get this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. From parents of a player on Tech's football team that went to the scrimmage, the defense dominated the offense. So is the defense really dominating, or is the offense lacking? That's the old question when you get to this time of year.
Did you see our defense last year? My guess is they're still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a guess.
Yeah, do you feel like that if last year's defense, played in a game against last year's offense, would you have been able to score 21 points in a game?
No.
I wouldn't have predicted it. I mean, maybe 2 out of 10 times or 3 out of 10 times or something like that, but not. Yeah, you were definitely more dominant on defense than you were offense.
Mm-hmm.
You were more physical up front, had more weapons on the defensive side of the ball that could really hurt you than you had on offense.
Yeah. So, at any rate, it's. I think sometimes you get this. Well, the defense is ahead of the offense, and pitchers are ahead of batters, or batters are ahead of pitchers. I mean, it's kind of where you lean is where your strength is, and right now, would you say going into the season that the strength is on the defense?
I guess I would want to actually watch them before I answered that question.
Okay.
I mean, you brought in a bunch of really good defensive players. I mean, you were dominant last year on defense, and then you lost a lot of those superstars, on defense. So I guess I want to see it. I mean, I feel really good about where you are up front on the offensive line. I feel really good about your running game. I feel like there's a lot of weapons at wide receiver and the tight end position. And if your quarterback's solid, I think you could have a really good offense too. I mean, everybody says we have these great new rush ends. They're going to make us forget about David Bailey and Romello Height, and I want to see that before I'm buying into that. Okay?
Right? Yeah.
Austin Romaine, he's pretty good, but he ain't Jacob Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I am holding out hope that the defense is just as good, like everybody keeps saying, and possibly better because of their depth and all that. But yeah, I think I'll wait to see that before I'm confident.
How
way.
Dare you want facts before making a decision, Jamie? Yeah. That is ridiculous and completely unnecessary during talking season.
I mean, do you feel like you lost more key guys on offense or defense?
Defense.
I feel like you lost more guys on defense.
Well, not just guys, but key guys.
Key guys, yeah. I feel like you lost more key guys on defense.
And that's why, to me, it's fair to ask the question, right? Okay, or to wonder a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, we keep hearing about this depth and all that good stuff, and I'm all for it. It can definitely help. And so, and these two new rush ends also really good. But man, when you have guys like that, it changes everything. It makes your secondary better. It makes your interior linemen, not have to deal with doubles and all that kind of stuff. So those were two freak rush ends that we had last year that were really, really good, and the middle linebacker that was amazing.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Tuesday, August the 25th, 4 months away from Christmas, Jamie. With this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
1951 is where we're going to get started today. Cleveland Indians win their 16th consecutive home game.
Okay.
It's a pretty good run. 1967, Minnesota Twins' Dean Chance's second no-hitter of the month beats the Cleveland Indians 2-1 in the second game of a doubleheader sweep. 1986, A's Mark McGwire hits his very first major league home run. He'd have a few more.
He'd have a bunch, yep.
Definitely.
1996, Tiger Woods wins the 96th U.S. Golf Amateur Championship. And then he would have a lot more wins.
Yeah.
Just not the Amateur Championship. In 2017...
That was a quick 30 years for Tiger, wasn't it? I mean, kind of, if you flash forward to today, I mean, he's a shell of himself, and it's very difficult for him to get around anymore. I mean, a lot of that's self-inflicted, obviously.
And injuries to your back will do that to you.
Sure.
Especially in golf. 2017, former Red Raider A.J. Ramos gets his fourth save with the Mets after being traded from the Marlins in July. It was his 24th total save of the season. It is National Banana Split Day.
Are you in on all three of the different flavors, or do you substitute one for the other?
I like all three flavors.
Okay.
Happy birthday. Hunter Redmond turns 34.
Good guy.
Andrew Sorrellis turns 30. Blake Lively, 39. Tim Burton, 68. Billy Ray Cyrus with his achy breaky heart is 65. Gene Simmons with a tongue that can lick his nose is 77.
Ugh.
Rachel Ray, 58, who could, cook a really good meal. Raleigh Fingers with a great mustache is 80. Albert Bell with a temper is 60. And Marvin Harrison is 54.
Can we go back to the first birthday? Was that Andrew Sorrells?
Yes. I typed it wrong.
As in the AD of LCU?
Yes.
Okay. Well, happy birthday, Andrew. Good Morning Drive listener. We got to say his name right.
Yes. 1944. After more than 4 years of Nazi occupation, Paris is liberated by the French 2nd Armored Division and the U.S. 4th Infantry Division. German resistance was light, and the German commander was actually given orders before he retreated from Paris to destroy all of the natural structures, all of the structures there and the iconic monuments and everything else. He basically said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave. Much to the chagrin of Hitler, but much to the benefit of all of us till today. And this day sports history.
This day in sports history. That would have been really sad if he had followed through with that. I saw this, and this was quite the night the other day for J.J. Bleday from the Cincinnati Reds. He hit for the cycle, okay? Cool. Mm-hmm. But he did it in his first 4 at-bats. So that's saying something. And, for Bleday, doubled in the first, tripled in the third, singled in the fourth, and then had the home run. So, in the 6th inning, and they won over the Diamondbacks 11-5. Just the 11th cycle in Cincinnati Reds history, going back to 1883, and the first Cincinnati Red to hit for the cycle since Ellie De La Cruz did it on June the 23rd, 2023. And shockingly, De La Cruz is still with the Reds.
He is. He's a good player.
And both players went 4 for 6, so they accounted for 8 of the 16 hits by the Reds. I mean, usually you see something like that and like, okay, there's not another guy in the lineup that's done something like that, right? So it is kind of an odd deal. And then kind of with the way that free agency has gone and roster turnover and things along those lines, that's why I said shockingly, he's like kind of crazy. The others in recent time to hit for the cycle, these are pretty good names. Eric Davis in 1989, Frank Robinson in 1959, and then this other name I'm not familiar with, Harry Kraft. The only other Reds players to hit for the cycle in 100 years. So I thought that was pretty cool for J.J. Bleday.
Yeah, very cool.
To hit for the cycle, which, and we've had this conversation before, it seems like it's rarer to do that than to throw a no-hitter.
Yeah, seems that way.
So we just haven't had that, we haven't had very many complete games. But it seems like we just haven't had the no-hitter this year. Yeah, seems like the no-hitter is going by the way of, the past.
And I think you just spoke to it. Nobody pitches that deep into games.
Yeah.
Careful, Chuck. Last time I said that, we had a no-hitter the next day.
Well, that would be fun.
It would. Unless it's, against one of our 2 teams.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be sad. One of our 2 teams, I mean, like the Astros or the Rangers or the White Sox or the Yankees or the Royals.
I'll let you figure that out.
Okay. I mean, I don't follow the Royals like you guys follow the Yankees and the White Sox. I mean, it's my childhood team, but I follow I know way more about the Rangers than I do the Royals. It's just kind of what time has done, for me at least. We'll have the Rangers and the White Sox tonight from the south side of Chicago. 6 o'clock, the broadcast time, 6:40, first pitch here on Double T 97.3. The Astros open up a series with the Yankees in the Bronx. So maybe the Yankees, Jamie, could cobble together 3 wins, and that would really help the Rangers out.
That would help the Rangers. It would help the Yankees, too.
It would help the Yankees as well. So we'll see. We'll have high school football on the air for you Friday night. Lots of it. I say lots of it. 2 games, 4 stations. Friendship and Cooper and Liberty and Memorial will all be in action. We'll also have our inaugural edition of the West Texas Friday Night Football Preview Show. That'll be at 6 o'clock on Double T 97.3 on Friday. And then, of course, after the game, it's the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show on both 100.7 The Score and Double T 97.3. And then the first college football game of the year, North Carolina and TCU from Dublin. That'll be on Saturday. You excited about that? Will that be something? Will that be tune-in TV for you?
I'm sure I'll catch some of it. That's usually a time I'm doing stuff.
Okay. Do you think Bill Belichick can survive the season?
I think he can.
In this particular matchup, are you go Heels versus TCU?
It's tough to say. I'm not sure. I probably will be rooting for UNC. Probably so. But at the same time, I do feel like the look would be better for the Big 12 Conference if TCU won. But, you know, you sit down and you think, hey, I should root for TCU here, and you start watching it, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I forgot how much I can't stand TCU. All of a sudden you're like, let's go Tar Heels.
Go Heels.
Yeah.
It's just if it just wasn't so awkward, right? It'd make North Carolina easier to root for if Bill Belichick wasn't just like crazy off his rocker, it seems like. But yeah, I can't root for TCU, so I'm all in on the Tar Heels. I don't know how much I'll take in, but I'll take in some of it, especially since it's on the radio on 100.7 The Score on Saturday morning at 10:30. It's the first of the college football season.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. All right, there's something else I want to get to really quick. I just want to get to this real quick. So it appears that you're going to have a Cleveland Brown go from the Cleveland Browns and suiting up for a preseason game to the LSU Tigers. He's got to clear waivers. Daquan Wright is his name. His agent is Drew Rosenhaus and Kyle Lincoln. He's been waived by the Cleveland Browns. Probably clear waivers today, and then head to LSU. Lane Kiffin, of course, is defending his position on this. He said at the end of the day, because of these rulings, they're either going to play for you or they're going to play for someone else around the country. So we've made the decision to recruit them like probably most people are. That's a fair statement, right?
Yeah, if you don't, somebody else will.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily make it right, but that's
but you know other people will.
Yeah, you know other people will. There's 16 college football players who have been granted a temporary restraining order that permits them to return to school for a 5th year. Kiffin said this, in my opinion, knowing the information, I think it's really wrong to be critical of these kids. They were granted a 5th year by a judge saying they were wronged by the NCAA, that they should have had the 5th year all along.
Wronged.
Like all the kids moving forward will have a 5th year.
Wronged.
Yeah. In general, should NFL players come back to college? I believe it doesn't matter necessarily what I believe. That answer should be no. I think every circumstance should be looked at differently. It's interesting. He said on Saturday, the Cleveland Browns coach, Todd Monken, said he attempted to call Lane Kiffin about a week ago, assumingly, about right, but that he didn't call him back. Kiffin said he doesn't know Monken and nor have his phone number. He said, I found that interesting because there's some inaccuracies in that stories, but I don't know. Maybe someone else called them that said they were me. I feel like...
I mean, Todd Monken he's done nothing wrong or whatever. That seems like a really odd lie to tell that you have nothing to gain from.
Right.
So who do we believe, Todd Monken or Lane Kiffin?
I think I believe the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Me too.
You know, it's really not even close. I mean, and look, if you want, and I don't know what all the comparisons are, but it's a fair comparison to compare DeQuan Wright with Donovan Atwell, because Atwell participated in the NBA Summer League. And, you know, he essentially was in a camp with the Chicago Bulls. So, I mean, I feel like that's a fair comparison, don't you? Just on the surface without knowing all of the facts?
Yes, I think that's fair.
You know, now Greg Sankey, who's the commissioner of the SEC, and this is going to come as no surprise to you, has come out against this. And I get it, you know, I mean, and the question is somebody, he or the courts or anything going to have any ability to stop it? And it doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. Sankey said this: college athletes, not former professional athletes, have been at the heart of the Southeastern Conference. Individuals who choose to leave college athletics, sign professional playing contracts, and compete professionally should not then be permitted to return to college competition. It's pretty cut and dried. College sports are for college athletes. The current confusion around national eligibility standards emphasizes the need to advance the Protect College Sports Act. You know, he said, allowing that to occur will blur the line between college and professional sports, create significant competitive and equity concerns, and reduce opportunities for high school and current college athletes. Yeah, it's hard to find fault with any of that statement.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's another case today that we're hearing about, that LSU's trying to sign a basketball player after he played for, I mean, he's been gone a year. Played in 24-25 for St. John's. R.J. Luis Jr. Went undrafted in the 25, not 26, 25 NBA draft.
Okay.
Signed a two-way contract with the Jazz, then an Exhibit 10 contract with the Celtics G League. After he was traded from Utah, Boston, he was later waived. He saw preseason action, but never appeared in a regular season game. This is a guy who's been gone from college for a whole year, and LSU just signed him. I mean, he's been a part of two different NBA franchises.
How does that work? It just doesn't make any sense. But you know, and then
I just keep asking myself the question, why? Why did we feel like we had to go to this? Because the product on the field or on the court wasn't good enough? With a couple of freshmen on a roster that haven't played college athletics, it wasn't good enough? We got to bring back guys that have played for 4 years already? What was the problem? What was wrong with college sports that we need these guys in here?
Yeah.
Just why?
Yeah.
What was the win? What was the need?
I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, it's like, and we have two guys on our football roster that this is their 7th year of competition, too. And there's a part of me that's like, man, I'd almost rather that situation where you get injured and you don't play the 3 games, and
rather than be a part of a professional franchise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree.
You know, I mean, and there was a time when I thought that was ridiculous.
I'm more open to the 7-year guy than I am the Donovan Atwell situation.
Of somebody that chose to go sign a contract and play in the summer league and try to make a roster.
Again, in defense of those guys, they didn't know that they had a 5th-year option.
Right.
Okay. But because the rules said they didn't.
Right.
And we knew a new rule was coming, but it was not for their class.
I mean, look, we talked about this the other day. I mean, sometimes you make choices in life, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does work out. To me, that's called life.
Well, but he didn't have Donovan Atwell didn't have the choice to stay.
No, you're right.
Initially,
You're
when
right.
he made his decision to go play for NBA teams, he didn't have the choice to stay.
No, that's right. That's right. Let's see. Somebody asked this question. Do you consider a player that goes to NFL training camp and never makes a 53-man roster a pro player? Yeah, I do. Because in essence, they've signed a contract. They've probably been compensated to go to that camp.
You don't go to NFL training camps and are working out and for them without getting paid.
Yeah, that's my point. Right. You've signed something. You've gotten paid from something.
You're paid as a professional player.
It's a real conundrum. There's no question about it. But it's you just wish somebody could step in and somebody says this. I don't get why this is such a big deal. The guy couldn't even make the Cleveland Browns. He's going to be like the 10th or 15th best player in his conference at that position. The problem is it sets a precedent.
Ole Miss is bringing back 3 starters, and
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it because it gives them a competitive advantage. But don't act like just because guys didn't make NFL teams that they're not good players.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, pretty simple little question for you today. When we get to the end of the 2026 football season that we hope ends in 2027 for the Red Raiders, and we ask the question, what was the most dominant part of your football team this year? That's the question I'm asking you today. What do you think the most dominant part of the Red Raider football team will be?
The dominant part. Okay, the first thing that came into my head, and this is, you're going to think I'm crazy. I think your secondary. I think you're going to have more interceptions than you did a year ago. I think you're going to look at your secondary and go, they were really good. Rice, Pollock, and company.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with the same thing I would have said last year if you asked me this question. And that's your defensive line. The defensive line was just absolutely dominating people. They might not have been as good as last year, but they were still the best defensive line that played against all of our opponents. Like, the opponents would say that defensive line was a monster to deal with the entire game.
I want to be different than Jeff just because I don't want it to be the same as last year.
Mm-hmm.
But last year was a lot of fun to have a dominant defensive front, and I don't think it's going to be different this year. I think that the defensive line, again, will be the dominant group with this football team. I wanted to say the running back position or just the run game as a whole. I would love for that to be the answer, or I'd love at least to be in contention with the defensive line when we get to the end of the season. But I just, man, with what you have returning and with what you have brought in, and the talent that you've brought in and the number of quality guys that you have that can clog the middle and rush from the outside, I just think I'm right there where you were last year.
The running back room, I think, is your most talented room. Like, I think you're, like, as a room top to bottom. The issue I have with them being my answer to this question is they're reliant on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. And your offensive line could be better. They could be improved. They could be really, really good. But we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
The defensive line is only dependent on them.
But then we could argue against us, Jeff, and say we don't know with the defensive line because there's so many new guys.
But they're only dependent on themselves, and their talent can show through. Where the running backs you could have Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, and Adrian Peterson back there, but if you've got the offensive line that Patrick Mahomes had, it won't matter.
Fair enough, but you also have, two guys that you're relying heavily on at the rush end position are guys that are coming from smaller schools, played lesser competition than playing in the Big 12 conference. So there's that question mark, right? Can they be just as good at this level as they were playing, at San Diego State, and I can't even remember where the other one played, somewhere in Ohio. So that's the question for me. Can they be just as good as they were? Obviously, the coaching staff thinks they are. From what we've heard.
7:36 this morning here on the Morning Drive. You have a comment on that? Somebody says this. Michael says this. Front seven, not just the defensive line.
Fair enough.
Okay. Somebody else says this. Cam and Jacoby had a pretty good year last year with a suspect offensive line. Running back is the answer. Returning elite production. Yeah.
And adding another talented guy to the mix.
Yeah, with Quentin Joyner. Yeah. Do you think my response was crazy?
I think it's one of the biggest question marks on the team, the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have gone that route.
Yeah.
But.
No, I know you didn't. You clearly didn't. But I just wondered if you thought I was crazy.
I think if you're going with two safeties and two corners, I feel like you're really confident in two of the four guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the one position or one area on the team where I feel like there's questions.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to be a little different. But
yeah, you do you.
I'm doing my best. Sometimes it doesn't quite work out. 7:37 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Let's see here. Jamie, rules of law sure have been watered down. We've been laxed. Once old Mr. Principal stopped wearing a tie and laxed into a relaxing pullover.
College basketball coaches too.
There's a lot to be said for that. We lack a lot of discipline right now. It seems like everywhere. I didn't think you were crazy. You just guessed. No, it wasn't just a guess. Let's see here. Thoughts. I was looking to see if there's anything else here that I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I do like the answer of pushing it to the front seven and not just the defensive line. I think that's fair because your linebackers are going to be a pretty dominant unit too.
Yeah. Let's see. Somebody says this. Why don't all the big conferences just do what the Big 12 did with Brendan Sorsby? Basically tell everybody in the league you can't sign players who are paid by pro teams, and if you do, you're fined. Make these players go play for UNC Greensboro, who has no real NIL money. Then we'll see if they really want to play school or just get paid more.
You already know the answer to that.
Yeah, we already know the answer to that. They're not going to do it because they're doing it too.
These three starters at Ole Miss aren't going back because they like Oxford.
Yeah, no. They think that
they figured out they're not going to make it in the NFL, and so they still want a chance to make more money.
Hey, look, I think when these guys realize, oh my God, I got to go get a job because I can't play professional football, baseball, or basketball. And let's just say football or basketball. Let's not include the baseball guys. And they realize, oh, you mean I'm not going to make $500,000? I'm not? I'm going to make 60, 50, 40, 30, whatever the number is? You mean I'm going to have to earn my keep? You mean I'm going to have to go out and do something? No, I'd rather go back to school.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Double T 97.3 presents the Morning Drive Power Hour. The Power Hour is presented by Service Compression, committed to service, advanced technology, and field-proven compression expertise in the oil field. See them at servicecompression.com.
Hey, good morning. It is the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Come to you from the First United Bank studio. Thoughts, comments, Yates Warring Center chat line, Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. We'll have the high school fan zone on tomorrow night. Coaches from Lubbock High, Coronado, Monterey, and Estacado all coming into the First United Bank studio. We'll have high school football for you on Friday night as the Friendship Tigers travel to take on the Lubbock Cooper Pirates. And then the Memorial Panthers will play host to Liberty. I wonder if they'll call it Panther Stadium when the Panthers are playing there, and then Tiger Stadium when the Tigers are playing there. Because they only have one stadium in Friendship.
I don't think they call it that either time.
Oh.
I think it has a sponsor name.
Yeah, but they're not on the team, so.
Well, you said them, not you. You said them. Like, you wonder if they will call it.
I meant like the school, Memorial.
They are going to call it the sponsor.
Okay.
Because they're on their team.
On their team.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have Memorial and Liberty on the air for you on Sunny 97.7 and the Liberty broadcast on Young Country 93.1. And then bookending it will be the West Texas Friday night preview show at 6 o'clock, and then the scoreboard show after the conclusion of the Friendship game as they take on Cooper. And we'll have that for you on both Double T 97.3 and 100.7 The Score. All right. Brett McMurphy has put out a college football projection and playoff projection. I'm not going to go through the bowls because it doesn't really matter because you're not involved in the bowls. But here's his 12 in the college football playoff. He has UNLV at number 12. That's a conventional pick, the group of 5 team.
Yep.
Washington at 11, BYU at 10, Oklahoma at 9, Texas at 8, Indiana at 7. You getting nervous about Texas Tech?
No.
Miami at 6, the Red Raiders at number 5, and then those are the teams that'll play in the play-on, into the first round games. Notre Dame is number 4. Number 3 is Georgia. Number 2 is Oregon. And number 1 is Ohio State.
So do you think those 4 teams in front of the Red Raiders are all undefeated?
No.
So you think a one-loss SEC or Big Ten team will get the top 4 seeds, a.k.a. a bye, in front of the Red Raiders, who could be undefeated at 13-0?
Well,
I think what matters here is if they don't play in their conference championship game, I don't think they're getting the bye over the Red Raiders.
I hope you're right. I mean, because I think if you're 13-0, you deserve to have a bye.
Well, I mean, depends on who the other teams are in front of you.
But I don't think. I just don't. I don't think.
I can't make a blanket statement like that. Let's do Ohio State and Oregon play this year. Do you know that?
I don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
I don't know that for a fact. But you have.
Let's say Notre Dame goes undefeated. Let's say Miami goes undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that Ohio State is undefeated in the winner of the Big Ten championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's say that Oregon, and they do play this year, November the 7th. Let's say that Oregon is, they've got just one loss, and it was a last-second field goal to Ohio State. you can't make the case that those 4 teams belong in front of the Red Raiders?
Yeah, you probably can.
I think you can.
Because here's the other.
We'll have to see what happens. I'm not saying I'm not making a blanket statement that they deserve it, but I'm saying let's see what happens. So the question I asked was, do you think all 4 of those will be undefeated? And I would guess no would be the answer. Okay, especially if Ohio State and Oregon are both in there and they play each other, right? So will you have? Because I think the Red Raiders are going to be undefeated, 13-0. And the question that I have is, will the committee think enough of the Big 12 Conference to put the Red Raiders at number 4, or will they be right outside? And I'm also going to tell you, it's not going to break my heart if they're right outside. If they're 5th and we get a home playoff game, I'm all about it.
Well, here's the interesting scenario for me is, so he has BYU at number 10. BYU and Notre Dame play each other. Okay. So I'm assuming here that because he has Notre Dame at number 4, that they've beaten BYU, right?
I would assume that. Mm-hmm.
And then do you assume if Texas Tech is number 5, that they're the Big 12 champion? Or did they lose to BYU and BYU get in because they're the Big 12 champion? And so Texas Tech would be 12-1 going into the first round of the playoffs, and BYU would be 12-1 going into the first round of the playoffs and being the Big 12 champion.
I would expect that the Red Raiders are going to be the Big 12 champ. If they're number 5, that means you're the Big 12 champ, would be my guess.
Okay, and so then a 2-loss BYU team gets in?
No.
Are you saying BYU doesn't make the Big 12 championship game?
Don't know.
But he has them at number 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing that's interesting to me, is that he has them at number 10, not so much that Tech is at number 5.
Notre Dame also plays Miami this year.
Yeah, and he has Miami at number 6, taking on number 11 Washington.
That would lead you to believe he has Notre Dame winning that game.
Yeah.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.